there, my name is Deborah Kerr, and I am the founder of Vergo, and I'm also a doctoral candidate doing menopause research. This little micro course is a result of the first couple of years of my research, and I call it the 5 things you absolutely, positively have to know about menopause, preferably before you get there. And before we even get going, let's talk about how menopause is not a disease. It's a perfectly natural transition, and you may or may not require any type of healthcare practitioner. So starting in position number 5, let's look at the menopause timeline. Just a general overview of what's happening. So before age 40, or approximately around age 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, you are still capable of normal reproduction. And then you go into a transitionary period called perimenopause, and then at approximately between 50 and 60, you're going to be in menopause or post-menopause, where your period stops. So looking at premenopause, it's really just the reproductive period prior to when the first symptoms of the menopause transition start to show up. And that's somewhere around, just after age 40 is where perimenopause kicks in, and it's that transition characterized by menstrual irregularities. We'll talk a bit more about that. And that usually happens between 40 and 50. And then menopause is your period has stopped for 12 consecutive months. Now, I want to talk about this timeline again because it looks very different for many women. I have talked to women, or one woman specifically, who at age 38, her periods were so heavy that she couldn't leave her home. So she was indeed experiencing one of the first signs of beginning the transition from premenopause to perimenopause and then over to menopause itself. And then I've talked to another woman who, at the age of 50, could look at her watch on every 28 days and know exactly when her period was going to start. And the only reason she knew that, I think perimenopause is beginning, is because it started being a few days either side of 28 days. So it wasn't exactly on. And then the other thing she found was that she was struggling with nouns, which is also can also be symptomatic or an indication that you're in perimenopause. And she was struggling for nouns. And she, for example, could have a mug in her hand and she'd want to put that in a sentence and she couldn't quite remember what that noun was. That's called word finding. Now, taking a look at position number 4, every woman's transition is different. And there's a quote I like to use from an anthropologist by the name of Lynette Sievert, who's done some extraordinary work in menopause research. And she said that science does not yet understand why one woman can wear a turtleneck sweater while another woman suffers from multiple hot flashes. And I think that's a really good explanation of how different menopause shows up. The menopause experience shows up for every woman. So, how different is it? Well, some women can experience severe hot flashes, night sweats. Some women will never experience them. Some women can experience reduced libido. Some women will not. Some women will get migraines. Some women will not. Some women will breeze through the menopause transition, and some people will their quality of life will just not even exist. It will just be an incredibly dreadful experience for them. So for the women who have severely impacted quality of life, one of the best things they can do for themselves is to seek medical help, but also keep track of their symptoms so that when they go in to talk to a healthcare provider, they are able to have an informed discussion about what that looks like for them. If you go in and it's an emotional time, and if you go in and you break into tears and say, please help me, I don't know what's going on, that's a pretty big field for a healthcare practitioner to try and sort through. So if you can be a bit more work with identifying what those symptoms are, even if it's as simple as writing them on a calendar. You can also get a digital tracker. There's many. We have one at the Apple Store called the Menopause Educator, and if that's helpful for you to use that, that's an excellent way of doing it. And but this whole quality of life thing is very important because it comes into an area where women disagree about care. Should they get care? Should they not get care? My position is that if a woman's quality of life is indeed compromised, she should seek help, absolutely, positively. So this leads to number 3. Beware of the vast amount of information. So let's say that your quality of life is impacted and you do go looking for help and you do go looking for information. Well, beware is a very good word to use. I Googled menopause yesterday and there was 198 million results. 198 million. So how in the world do you know what to pay attention to, what not to pay attention to? And these are my suggestions. Don't Google. Use Google Scholar. So you could put menopause into Google Scholar and you might want to put in menopause plus your symptom, whatever it is that you're looking more information about. Put that into Google Scholar and chances are you're going to get results that are more evidence-based. For sure, better information. And which leads to check your sources. Check the credibility of your sources. There is no way that 198 million of those results that are coming up on Google are sources where you want to keep the information. There will be many, many, many of those results that are offering you magic pink pills to cure all the ills of menopause. And when you see that, very quickly back out of the room because that's the last thing. You don't want to go there. The other thing is you can greatly restrict the number of sources that you trust. So, for example, the Mayo Clinic comes up in that search result for 198 million. Mayo Clinic is pretty good at what they do. I think we can all agree on that. So that would be considered a credible source. Another good source to follow is the North American Menopause Society, called NAMS, N-A-M-S. And if you just Google North American Menopause Society, it comes up right away, and all of their information is evidence-based. It's an excellent, excellent source of information. I also follow a couple of practitioners, which I find excellent. Their information is evidence-based. There's I'll show you her book right here. Dr. Ginny Mansberg is from Australia. She's an Australian practitioner. Excellent, practical, good information to know. And then also on that same level, but from the United States, is Dr. Jennifer Gunter. She's an obstetrician gynecologist out of, I believe it's San Francisco, and this is her book, The Menopause Manifesto. Between those two books, you have got an excellent overview, and you can trust everything coming out of those two books. So there's a good start for you to reduce that amount of information from 198 million to maybe, 4 sources. Big difference. Now, let's get down to the top 2. And coming in at number 2 is hormone replacement therapy. On a scale of 1 to 10 of how important is it for you to understand what's going on with hormone replacement therapy, it's a 10. On a scale of 1 to 10 about how controversial and sort of polarizing is hormone replacement therapy on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10. And a scale of how confusing is it, it's a 10. So 10, 10, 10 on those scales, and I think I could take a whole bunch of endless information, polarizing information, and reduce it to this. Know the latest research. Hormone replacement therapy has been controversial since its inception about 100 years ago. And it's been polarizing because there's a group of doctors, medical professionals that think hormone replacement therapy is it's good for women. It is preventative for cancer. It's preventative for cardiac disease. It's preventative for osteoporosis. It's preventative for Alzheimer's. It's just a really good preventative treatment to go on once you're from perimenopause on. And then the other group of doctors thinks, wait a minute, I'm not convinced that hormone replacement therapy is good for women. I think there's connections to developing breast cancer. And then confusing all of that is there is a very badly organized study in, I want to say 1996, which was ended in 2002, called the Women's Health Initiative, which is largely responsible for this gap in this polarizing view that you have amongst doctors. So one of the things that I like to share with women is a piece of information that comes from a documentary called Hot Flash Havoc. And in that documentary, they talk about the impact of estrogen and its impact on women. And estrogen impacts approximately 400 functions in a woman's body. So that's kind of makes you sit up and take notice. So keeping that in mind, and keeping in mind the polarization of hormone replacement therapy and the different views and the controversies, I would suggest that you take some time, energy, perhaps a bit of money, and get comfortable with the latest research on this. And I'm going to suggest a book by Dr. Avril Blooming and Carol Tavares on the impact of estrogen on a woman's body. And this is an excellent book, and it's easy to read and easy to understand. So I highly recommend that one. And I also suggest the work done by Dr. Lisa Mosconi. She's a neuroscientist, and she's researching the connection between menopause and Alzheimer's. And her research is fascinating. I have included Lisa Mosconi some links to her research in the resources. So yes, hormone replacement therapy is controversial. Yes, it's messy, but it's important that you understand it, especially if you're one of the women that ends up with, a quality of life that just goes downhill. This is not good. So take a look at that information. And moving on to number 1, with a bullet, the importance of self-care. And I know we all know this going in. We all know that it's important to take care of ourselves. However, once you get to age 45, 50, and you're coping with symptoms of perimenopause and you're heading into postmenopause, depending again on how your quality of life is impacted, this becomes more important and more important. And by self-care, I mean that whole big combination of what you're eating, how you're moving, how you're thinking, how much stress you're under. All of those things impact your menopause experience. So a simple, straightforward learning activity to do is be very honest about where you are in your lifestyle. Are you a couch potato? Are you going to McDonald's 42 times a week? Are you, drinking every day? All of those things, as you are already aware, are not particularly good for your body. So on the other side of the page, put down maybe what you should strive for. How should you be eating? What should that look like? What's the gap? And then in between, to connect them, to get from over here, the not so perfect, to over here, striving to be much better, put in an action plan. What does that look like for you? And take time and energy and money and put it in there, and that will just, especially stress. Stress is just has such an impact at this time on your body, on your mind. You have you're juggling so many balls, and taking the time to really focus on what's going on for you will pay off big time. So that's my top 5, and I thank you for checking in with us. And if you're interested in learning more and taking a deeper dive on all of this information, including sort of the biology of menopause and the logistics and what that all looks like, we have a much bigger course, and it's offered by our not-for-profit, and you can take a look at that. Thanks so much. And take a look at those resources that are on the next slide. Thank you. Bye.